Hi, and welcome to my in-depth look at tonight's new supermoon in Scorpio. I'm Penny Dix, Astro Coach, sometimes known as Planetary Penny, and I'd like to welcome you. Now, also interestingly, tonight coincides with the middle part of the festival of Diwali. And so for all my Hindu friends who may be watching, because this is their new year, it's the Festival of Light, I'd like to say, and I hope I say this correctly, Sal Mubarak. And that's, I believe, the greeting. So Sal Mubarak. And I wish everybody, whatever your creed, a successful year ahead, and health, wealth and happiness. And we certainly need health, because without health, we're not going to get all the rest. Excuse me. Okay, so let's look at this new moon in Scorpio. It happened in the early hours of this morning, and it's actually quite a nice new moon because it has a very kind aspect from the big boys, as I call them, Pluto, Saturn and Jupiter in Capricorn. So it has what we know as a sextile, which is a very helpful influence. Now, let me tell you first a little bit about Scorpio, and then why I think this is a transformational new moon. Okay, so Scorpio is it's a sign about the deepest depths. Its symbol is the scorpion. Now, scorpions are very interesting creatures because they have a sting in their tail. And I think there is something about the Scorpio personality that does like to have the final word, even if it's at their cost. Now, also interestingly, Scorpio, one of the other symbols that represent it is the snake. Now, snakes actually can also be seen as representing wisdom, so that even though the serpent in Adam and Eve got quite a bad press, he was actually trying to encourage Eve and Adam to open their eyes to the truth. Now, the other symbol for Scorpio is the phoenix. And the phoenix is this wonderful bird that, as you know, enables us to rise from the ashes of what no longer serves us. And that's what I want to come to next, because I think this new moon is very much a new moon of transformation. It's a personal new moon, this one, I feel. I feel it's very much about you and how you relate to yourself, how you communicate to yourself. I think it's about really having some honest looks at yourself and thinking, what no longer serves me? And also, what do I need to let go of in my life, or what needs to change? Are there habits and behaviors that really no longer serve me? Because these are the areas that we need to address. And as I said, it is about how we communicate with ourselves. Also, Pluto, the planet of transformation, which co-rules Scorpio with Mars, Pluto is a planet about transformation. And this new moon is making this kindly aspect. So it's almost like it's inviting us and saying, this doesn't have to be tough. This doesn't have to be really hard. All you have to do is make that little shift to start doing maybe behaviors or habits that serve you better. I can think of a few for myself, so I'm going to try over the next 2 weeks to use this energy wisely and address issues of my habits that need to change. And that's the kind of way we can use this new moon in a really good and constructive way. The other thing I want to say about this moon is that it is also about death and rebirth. Now, that's not something to fear because, you know, we can die 1,000,000 times during our one lifespan. So that's why I ask you to look at yourselves and think, where do I need to change? What do I need to give up? What do I need to let go of? Because these are the areas of your life that, and only you will know which areas of your life I'm referring to. These are the areas that this moon is giving you this super opportunity to really transform. Before I go on to our individual signs to let you know how this new moon is affecting each of the zodiac signs, I also just want to bring in Uranus in Taurus and Mercury that is now also in Scorpio. Because these two met up a few weeks ago in an opposition, and that can bring up sudden startling news. If I'm remembering correctly, I think that's, well, there was some, I probably better not mention anything too sensitive, but I think there was some quite big stuff going on in the news. So all I'm suggesting is that with this coming up again, and it's going to be sort of close to this new moon period, that we have to look at this opposition again from Taurus to Mercury in Scorpio. Now, on a personal level, we could be the ones doing the surprising. We could be the ones saying, no, I've changed. I'm going to put this that doesn't serve me behind me and move on and live a better life for myself. So that may be where we in some ways, you know, surprise others. But it can also be, I think, on the world stage that we will get more news coming in of surprising events. And I have a feeling that, you see, Uranus is quite interesting because Uranus can be about invention. And I think it's interesting that the vaccine, which, you know, God bless the pharmacists, hopefully it works, whether that is part of a kind of Uranus event that has brought that in, whether you trust vaccines or not, that is beside the point. The fact is we have this, what a lot of people will see is an opportunity for change. But I have a feeling that this Uranus-Mercury opposition is going to see things getting a little bit more challenging before it can start to improve. And that could be the kind of sting in the Scorpio tail, that there's a price to pay. And, you know, we can only watch over the next 2 weeks to see how that unfolds. But now, with no further ado, let's look at your individual zodiac signs. So let's start with you, Aries. Okay, so for you, this super new moon in Scorpio is in your 8th house. Now that is Scorpio's home. So it's very comfortable here, the new moon. It's saying, yeah, I know this territory. And actually, Aries, you know this territory. There is an ability that I think Aries have to go down to the depths. They don't always do it and they don't always show it, but they do have that capacity. And, excuse me, and I think that because it's bringing in the energy of your 10th house, which is also to do with career direction and what you want to achieve in life in that direction, your public image, then this new moon is actually inviting you to, I think, do some quite make some transformational decisions about how you see your working life and what you want to actually put in place. And I think that will be actually probably quite surprising a few people. So, you know, I think go for it, Aries. It's encouraging. Taurus. So what's happening for you? Well, this is actually happening in your house of significant relationships. So if you have a significant other, then it means that maybe the relationship will reach new heights and depths of understanding, and maybe you will take it to another level. Now, if you are single, or quite happily single, or single and looking, then a new moon can bring something like a bolt out of the blue into your life. So, and it would be something that is quite raw, quite passionate, and something that Taurus normally gets a little bit kind of overwhelmed by. And because it brings in the energy of the 9th house, which is about higher learning, being in touch with our kind of higher self, also traveling on an inner level as well as traveling on an outer level, then I think if a new relationship comes into your life now, Taurus, it will really have quite a transforming effect on you. And I think if you can look at the type of person that would come in now and really think about what this person represents to you, what they project onto you, what you project onto them, then you can learn a lot from this one. And also, you know, if you are in a relationship, then it shows how this relationship can really transform into something much more than it ever was. Gemini. So Gemini, this is in your 6th house. And it's like, for me, this is very much about you've got to start trying to make some inroads in how you operate in your day-to-day activities. You need to get a better routine. I think you've been skimming the surface, Gemini, and you have a nagging feeling at the back of your mind that you really need to dig down and actually get some more structure and transform the way you work into something that is actually more comfortable for you. And it's also, I think, to do with other people's money as well. So there could be something that you need to realize with your investments, because it's bringing in the energy of the 8th house. And it looks like there's a really brilliant opportunity to transform financial situations that have been a bit stuck. And now let's come on to Leo. Leo, our lovely roaring lion. Well, for you, Leo, it's in the area of your house connected with your home and family. And so some of you might even be considering moving house. And remember, if you know what your ascendant is, so this is not just sun in Leo, it can be ascendant in Leo and even moon in Leo. So if you know your ascendant, I meant to say that at the beginning, then listen to your ascendant as well. But some of you could be thinking of moving house. Some of you will be thinking of making some quite significant changes, really transforming things within your living space. And also with this Scorpio new moon here, I think you will find yourself relating in a better way to family members who have perhaps been a little bit distant, and because of the current restrictions, it's not been so easy to obviously connect with people. And I think you're going to find it easier to address that balance and just get things in a much more sort of centered place. And I also think you do have to watch, Leo, still a little bit your health, and take advantage of this new moon in Scorpio to look at how you honor your health or don't honor your health. What do you perhaps need to change that would really be hugely beneficial to you? Now, Virgo, for you, it's in your 3rd house, which is the area of your chart connected with communication, thought, thinking. And I think you're going to be crystallizing ideas that you've been toying with for some time. It's almost like you're ready to write a thesis, because it brings in the energy of your fifth house, which can be projects and creativity, as if you're looking at a way that you can somehow get these thoughts that you've been learning through lockdown and through all the restrictions that all of us throughout the world have had to endure this year, and that maybe it'll help you. It feels almost like a little bit of personal self-development, which Virgo doesn't always kind of get drawn into very easily. But you know what, Virgo, it could really be super helpful. Libra, for you, it's in your house of finance. Well, that's good news, because it looks like new fresh starts to do with maybe some financial issues that have been on hold and you didn't know how you were going to sort of realize certain, parts of your kind of pot of gold. And it also, I think it's to do with your house. And it may be that you've been thinking, Libra, about buying or selling or moving. And I think if that is something that you're thinking of doing, this new moon could be a really good time to either put a property on the market, or make some certain sort of definite decisions about, what you could do with this. So an interesting new moon for you. Now, Scorpio, it's in your house. So it's in your sign. And this is all about you, Scorpio. This is about a wonderful opportunity for you to, in a sense, be reborn, for you to give birth. We have to think of the phoenix that rises from the ashes, because this is a chance, Scorpio, for you to sort of break out of that cocoon that you've been perhaps hibernating in through a lot of this year, and start to spread your wings and show people what you're made of. I think you're going to find that you can communicate your feelings in a far more eloquent way than you've been able to do before. And Scorpio, I think this is going to be a real game changer for you, this new moon. I think things are going to start to crystallize for you. You're going to see, it's like the shades that have been on your eyes are dropping away, and you start to see much more clearly the direction you need to go. And I think that's not just for you personally, but also with respect to personal sort of close relationships. Now, if we move on to Sagittarius, this is in your 12th house. Now, the 12th house is all about the inner you. And it can also be where we feel restricted. And Sagittarius, you are such a freedom lover. You do love to get out there and just be a free spirit. And so this year has been particularly tough for you, Sagittarius. It's just put the brakes on you, and that's been really hard. But it seems to me that with this new moon in this area of your chart, I think you're again a bit like this chrysalis that is opening up and waking up and just seeing that you can start to even use your own resources in a different way that would, to find a better way to work. Seeing as we're probably going to be in this situation of coping with the virus for a good few more months, in spite of the vaccine, I think what we have to do is just recognize that we need to find new ways to work, new ways to relate, and new ways to work. And this would be something good for you, Sagittarius. Capricorn. Now, the new moon for you is in the area of your chart to do with your hopes and your wishes and your dreams. So if there's been anything that's been on the back burner, or that you've been kind of marking time, wondering whether you could actually, bring this to the fore or not, I think now would be quite a good time to look at how you could actually promote that, because it does bring in the energy, of course, of your first house, because this is where the big boys are, Jupiter, Saturn and Pluto. So you can work with them in a very kind of harmonious way. And I think there's going to be some pots that have been bubbling on the back of your cooker that are really going to kind of simmer to the top, and you will be ready to present them. Now, how cool is that? Aquarius. Okay. So, Aquarius, you have this happening. This new moon is in your 10th house of career and your direction in life. So this is giving you a chance, I think, an opportunity to, if you want to change your direction or tweak it or introduce a new way of doing things, then this new moon is the time to do it. And it'll work. It really will, because you've got the support of Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter in your 12th house, who are going to be, I feel at this time, it's like the last few years you've had to learn some tough lessons, Aquarius, and now you're going to have the opportunity to finally start seeing some progress from that and actually feeling that you're getting somewhere. And last but not least, Pisces. So Pisces, it's in your 9th house, this new moon, of travel, higher learning, of teaching as well. And I think for you, Pisces, I think you are going to be digging deep into how you can uncover a lot more about your inner self and how you can use that in a transformative way for not only inner journeys, but outer journeys. And we may not be able to do them yet. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with dreaming now or setting those in place at this time. And it's a good time to dream. And I just want to say that, you know, just to kind of bring as a conclusion for this new moon, that this year has been tough for everybody. And we have to, I think, look back and reflect on what we've learned, to not rail against it and fight against it, but to actually think, how has this changed me? Have I allowed it to change me? Have I allowed it to change me in a positive way? What have I learned from all of this about myself, about others, about my nearest and dearest, about life in general? Because it'll be a great shame if we can't actually take from this year the opportunity to really put in place all the things that we've learned, to use the energy in a very constructive way so that we can move forward into 2021, which will be different. It won't have the same energy that we have this year. It'll have its own energies and challenges, but it won't be the same as this year. So it's like this year has been preparing you for what can now come, for what can be on the horizon. So with that in mind, I'd like to wish you a very good night and to say thank you so much for joining me on this live stream tonight. And if you would like to have a one-to-one with me, you can go to my website, which will be somewhere near this picture, this video. Anyway, it's pennydix.com. And also, if you haven't seen this, you can get it on catch up on YouTube, which will be available from tomorrow or Tuesday. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, I really, really, really would be super pleased if you could do that. That would be fantastic. In the meantime, thank you so much for coming and joining me. The next live will be the full moon, which is in 2 weeks' time. That'll be via Gith Magazine or Gozo in the House. And tonight we've not had any interruptions from aliens or powers that be or cyberspace or hackers. So obviously I didn't say anything that was not allowed, possibly. Anyway, on that note, thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.